All right, WMS percussionists, it's time for your final installment of the Smartmusic instructional videos that will hopefully help you out as you navigate Smartmusic. Remember, the goal of Smartmusic is to help you become a better practicer. It's not about, just another way for Mr. Kluge to give you a grade, although that's part of it. It's really there for you to open. When I send out a text that says, hey, you got a new Smartmusic assignment, open those assignments right away and start working on them a little bit each day. Don't wait till the last minute to try and cram all your practicing minutes in the night before an assignment's due. You will learn much better and you will get better as a percussionist if you work on these assignments a little bit each day rather than trying to cram them in all in one day. So on the screen is your Smartmusic dashboard or your home screen, and then you'll see that I have 3 classes there, but you'll only have 1 class. And to demonstrate this for you today, I created the Kluge test class, and I put an assignment in there. It says 1 pending. You'll see that I've already graded an assignment that was for my other demonstration that I did for the woodwind and brass players. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 1 pending assignment. You will see this in your percussion class assignment window if how many assignments you actually have pending that still need to be done. So I'm going to click on 1 pending, and then it'll show you which ones you've done already, what you've done and are graded, and it'll also show you which ones you still need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the one here that I have to do, and I'm going to click on complete assignment. I'm going to select my part. So my part is always going to be percussion or snare drum if you're given that option. And then click OK. So just a couple of things about your instrument. So Smartmusic will work with a snare drum and the snares turned off. Or it'll work on a practice pad. So I suggest you experiment a little bit and see what gives you the best results. Also, if you're using a computer where you're using the built-in or internal microphone, a lot of times, depending upon the room you're in, that might give you some trouble. I might recommend that you use an external microphone, such as one of those desktop microphones that sits on a little, base, and it plugs into your USB port, and it might have its own power, and you use an external microphone. Or Smartmusic, I believe, even still sells these clip-on microphones that you could clip on to like a music stand or someplace close to your drum. But you can try the internal microphone of your computer first. That may work just fine. Here in the band room, the acoustics are such that there's an echo or a reverb, and that tends to cause problems for drums a little bit. So I use an external mic that plugs into my USB port, and that's what I'm going to be using today. One other thing, if you are using your drum with the snares turned on, you want it to sound nice and crisp, like this. No long overtones or sounds. Such as this. You can hear the extra ring there. So if you're going to play with your snares turned off, make sure the snares are all the way off. Or make sure they're all the way on and tight enough that we're not getting those extra sounds. And if you need help adjusting your snare drum or want to learn how to do that, there's plenty of YouTube videos that you can find for that, or you can ask Mr. Kluge. I'm going to go ahead and play with the snares turned on today. So a good thing to remember is that under assessment, you need to check the percussion and clap mode. That's got to be the first thing that you do. And that's for each new assignment that you open. You got to check that box, otherwise your assessment will not come across correctly. And then you can go back to tracks. You'll notice that accompaniment is turned on automatically by default. I'm going to lower that volume just a little bit. Right now on this exercise, it's just going to be bass drum, but if I assign you a band piece to practice the snare drum part with, you'll hear whole band accompaniment, which is really nice. But for this case, it's just bass drum. Now watch what happens to the red record button when I turn the volume on for my part. An exclamation point appears, and that's because I have preset the parameters for this assignment that I want you to turn in the snare drum part without the recording of the computer snare drum in the background. Now by all means, as you're practicing this assignment, you may need to have the recording on to help you learn how your part goes. So you should definitely do that. When it comes time to actually submit your assignment, you're going to want to turn that off and press the button there, or the orange speaker for no volume. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You'll also see that red exclamation point show up here if you lower the tempo. So you'll see that our assignment is supposed to be played at 120 beats per minute. But if that's too fast for you, if you open the assignment early in the week and you're like, I can't quite do it at that speed, and you need to slow it down a little bit to practice it, go ahead and slow your tempo down. But you'll see that red exclamation point is back, meaning that Mr. Kluge wants to hear it at 120 per minute, but you can practice it at any slow tempo that you need to. I'm going to reset that back to 120, and let's see how Mr. Kluge does at playing it at that speed. I'm going to hit record. You're going to first hear a test tone, so please make sure your speakers are up, any headphones are unplugged, and the volume is, about halfway turned up. And it says you're ready to perform. Now, if I forgot to say this earlier, you might need to experiment a little bit with drum placement, microphone placement, maybe using an external mic and a desktop microphone to try and get your best results. But I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and let's see how Mr. Kluge does. Alright, you're going to see Mr. Kluge made some mistakes there. Any green notes or green rests are rests and notes that I counted and played correctly. Anything that is red, a red rest or a red note, are things that I did incorrectly. You can play back your performance and kind of see and hear how you did at the same time by hitting this play button with the little red dot next to it. I'm going to go ahead and say, well, 120 beats per minute was probably a little too fast for me. I'm going to slow it down and see how I do at 100 beats per minute. Perhaps I'll have better luck. There's your reminder that you cannot turn the assignment in at 100 beats per minute, that I wanted it at 120, but you can still record and play along with it. So overall, I did better that time, but I'm still not at 100%. So I would keep practicing it until I can do it at that speed correctly a few times in a row, and then just bump it up a few notches each practice session, and doing it correctly along the way until I got back to the 120. So let's pretend it's the end of the week, it's the day before the assignment's due. I'm feeling confident. I'm like, I got this. So I'm gonna go ahead and record. Couple of missed rests and a couple of red notes, I still am happy with that, and that's still going to get me a really good score. You know, you can have one or two mistakes in each line of music and still really get a high score, passing grade. You could go back and review your previous takes that you had and submit the best one or the score that you like, so you get to choose which grade you turn in. When you're ready to turn an assignment in, Mr. Kluge, hit submit. You can leave me a comment if you'd like if your dog is barking in the background, tell me about that. And then you can hit submit. And what is happening right now is Smartmusic is making an MP3 audio file to send me, taking a screenshot of the green and red note assessment to send me, and sending me any notes that you left for me as well. And you'll see there that I got your take. That'll end up in my grade book, and yes, and you will receive a notification on your dashboard that you have that assignment turned in. That's all. I hope you found this helpful, percussionists and parents.